It's Jeff Jarrett, because every show needs more Jeff Jarrett. Not really pumpkin-headed wankers. Zack Sabre Jr. said it. I don't know. Sounds cool. We're live 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. And Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. It is Jim Valley, the effing king of recovery. Back again because of the fans. You may have heard on my TV, which I forgot to mute. Crown Jewel happening right now in Saudi Arabia. It's the cage match, Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. We've talked about the ethics of these shows, and there's really nothing more that can be said in that regard. And the show, it's pretty much just now a straightforward WWE card. It's not the greatest anything. There's no best in the world, no fake Yokozuna, no 90s stars coming out of retirement. All we have now are just two YouTubers. And Logan Paul is pretty much part of WWE. I don't know why. Get like a big social media star, like a Corn Kid. Can you imagine Sami Zayn and Corn Kid? Now that would be magic. But even the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is paying more and getting less these days. Won't somebody think of the billionaires? Conrad Thompson claims that he heard Shawn Michaels got $3 million for that sad tag team match. That match was so bad, I put a sticker on my TV of the Saudi Crown Prince pointing and saying, I did that. Hey, coming up, New Japan Autumn Battle is awesome, and Mike Tyson's commentary is something else. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Hey. Oh, thank you. It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529. Well, the cage match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Drew McIntyre wins just by a hair. He climbs over the cage and jumps down moments before Karrion Kross is able to climb through the door. So Drew McIntyre standing victorious at Crown Jewel as Karrion Kross glares in anger. So far on Crown Jewel, the opening match, Brock Lesnar beat Bobby Lashley, but then Lashley afterwards attacked Lesnar, put him in the full Nelson after the match. Lashley looked strong. They put him over strong, even though he lost. Alexa Bliss was doing an interview with Asuka. She lost her train of thought when that Bray Wyatt bug graphic flashed on the monitor that was right next to her. Obviously, seeds being planted for Alexa and Bray. They do have a history together. And then the next match, Damage Control defeated Asuka and Alexa for the women's tag team championships. Bayley interfered, gave Alexa Bliss the Randy Orton DDT from the ropes. Dakota Kai pinned Alexa, and Dakota Kai and Io Sky, the new women's tag team champions. So that's the report so far. We'll keep an eye on everything that's happening on Crown Jewel. They're back in the big uncovered stadium, so it does look fairly impressive. They're even doing something with drones outside, which I don't think they're computer graphics. I think it's actual drones. So sparing no expense for this $50 million show. Did you see Rampage Friday night? Orange Cassidy beat Shibata in a very good match. Lots of psychology, lots of taunting each other. I mean, Shibata's a wrestling genius, and according to Dave Meltzer, they're both friends. He and Orange Cassidy. He wanted to wrestle him and Bryan Danielson, so they did that match. I know some people are upset that Shibata lost, but I don't know why. It's very common in Japanese wrestling for a returning wrestler to lose at least their first few matches. Plus, I'm not aware that Shibata is going to be wrestling anywhere full time. So it made sense that Orange Cassidy would win. And it was a big win for Orange Cassidy. They put it over big, and they should. Mike Tyson was on commentary. I liked it. I don't know that I would say it was good, but it added, I mean, you've got the dichotomy of a serious wrestler like Shibata and a gimmick, a very good gimmick though, of Orange Cassidy. And then you put in Mike Tyson and Tyson, I don't know if they were feeding him lines like he called the STL. And maybe he knew it, maybe he didn't, I don't know. But he did come across that he had enthusiasm, some knowledge, and definitely respect. And it added to the spectacle. And I don't know if it drew a rating or not, but Rampage for a while was #1 on Twitter. I don't know how often that happens, especially with Smackdown. But the more I think about it, Rampage may be onto something. Just do the most random matches each week, like maybe next week have Danhausen taking on Okada, and then on commentary, Topanga. Friday nights could be a lot of fun. Tyson's commentary added something. I'm not sure what, but definitely something. The announcing made a difference. And, I'm watching the Crown Jewel. I have the sound down now, but I had it on. I was going around preparing the show, kind of running around doing stuff this morning, and I heard Wade Barrett. And it occurred to me with Mike Tyson and Wade Barrett how good wrestling announcers are right now. I mean, I've always had respect for Michael Cole, but with Vince gone, he's now really able to follow his own great instincts instead of someone else screaming in his headphones. And Wade Barrett is a great talker. He always says the right thing. He's got word economy. He knows when to be a heel. He's the best. And on Raw, Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves, their new pairing, they're still kind of finding their chemistry, but Corey Graves knows what's up and how to call a match. Then in AEW, you've got Excalibur, who has grown so much over the last 3 years. He is so good. He was good when he started, and he has just gotten better. And Taz hasn't lost a step. He's as good as he was in the Smackdown days with Michael Cole. You got Ian Riccaboni, Impact as Tom Hannafin. You've got Larry Dallas. I mean, it's so many people. It's just incredible. Kevin Kelly in Japan. Is there a better person to describe Japanese wrestling than Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton? I can't think of anybody. We are living in a golden age of announcers. Not to mention Renee Young. She is the best studio host who could be on ESPN or any other studio setting anywhere in the world. She's a great backstage interviewer. Wrestling is so lucky to have Renee Young, but it's a ridiculous amount of broadcast talent right now when you think about it. They know the names of moves. They know individuals' moves, their specific named moves. They describe individual motivations, why winning and losing is important, different characters, their history. So much great background. The announcers right now are great at setting the table for fans. God, when I was a kid, so many of the announcers sucked. Like those old AWA shows, Rod Trungard is freaking terrible. Calling everything a body slam. Vince McMahon, of course, famous for saying what a maneuver. He was great for describing characters. Don't get me wrong, but terrible at everything else. It just really kind of insulted your intelligence as a fan. And yeah, sometimes announcers play dumb, but not like they used to. Bob Caudle. I know a lot of people in the Carolinas love Bob Caudle. He's a kindly old man. I wish him no ill will. I just didn't think he was that good as an announcer, but I know that everyone loves him. But we are in a golden age. Not only do we have so many great matches and talented wrestlers, but we've got very professional broadcasters who paint the verbal pictures and hopefully create new fans. I didn't even realize it, but we're so lucky to have who we have right now calling things on the mic. Just a deep bench everywhere you look. Right now, it's the Judgment Day against the OC, just kicking things off right now. We'll talk about the awesome battle autumn in Osaka, New Japan talk coming up next. Wrestling Observer Live. Thanks. All right. God damn. All right. God, that guy's great. He knows exactly what to say every time. Yeah, he wasn't terrible. Exactly. That could work. All right. Thank you. So, it's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529. As I mentioned, Crown Jewel right now, Judgment Day, and the OC in a 6-man tag team match happening right now. But I'll tell you what, while the wrestling so far looks like it's been pretty good as far as Saudi shows go, and usually the wrestling is just very average on Saudi shows. New Japan had Battle Autumn in Osaka. Oh my gosh, what a show! I had no idea this show was going to be this good. And it came at the perfect time. Suddenly, I am so hyped coming up for Wrestle Kingdom and January 4th. This show, watch this show. I cannot stress that enough. Go out of your way to see this show. It is, man, those people in Osaka, they got a treat. Man, oh man. Okay, if you don't want spoilers, too bad. IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship match, United Empire, Akira and TJP defeated Titan and Bushi. Good match. Then Gideon Gray, Aaron Hanari, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis, United Empire, defeated Toru Yano, David Finlay, Tanahashi, and Alex Zane. Another solid match. Again, second match, got them over. That's what it needed to do. Something interesting on the show. This is kind of when things started to get interesting. Hikuleo defeated Takahashi, and after the match, Hikuleo called out Carl Anderson. The same Carl Anderson that is that crown jewel in the ring right now as we speak. So, is Triple H going to let Carl Anderson drop the Never Open Championship? I don't know. It's a really, really good question. Then the New Japan World TV Championship semifinal. Ren Narita looked fantastic in a great match against the always fabulous Sonata. I'll tell you what, Ren Narita has got so much momentum right now heading into the finals. And the final match, he's going to be facing Zack Sabre Jr. on January 4th, as Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Evil in a pretty fun match too. So Ren Narita, Zack Sabre Jr. for the World TV Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. And if they're going to do what they say they're going to do with this TV championship, it would make all the sense in the world to put it on Ren Narita and as it have a spotlight on a young guy like him. Clearly, they like him a lot. He's really on a roll. And to me, that would make the most sense, but who knows? But either way, the match is set. Zack Sabre Jr., Ren Narita for the New Japan World TV Championship. And then, I don't know if it's the best match of the year, but I'll tell you what, this may be my favorite match of the year. So they did a Partners Incredibles match where everybody hates each other. Anyway, Master Wada and El Desperado against Hiromu Takahashi and Ishimori. And oh my God, was this great. So they drew straws to determine the teams for this incredible tag team match. And the inner dynamics between all four, as far as having to tag in with your partner, tag out, shoving somebody instead of tagging, striking somebody, or jumping off the ring apron to avoid your partner tagging, interference, being out for yourself. Just, the dynamics were incredible. I mean, we've all seen the matches where partners can't get along. But this was a whole new dynamic with so many new facets. Oh my God. It was one of the most entertaining matches you're ever going to see. I loved this match, and it was a great way to promote all four guys who are going to be in the match for the junior heavyweight title at Wrestle Kingdom. Just fantastic. So the finish, you got to watch it a couple of times. Hiromu had Wada up in a fireman's carry, and Ishimori hit a flying knee, which caused Wada to fall back and cradle Hiromu for the pin. It was brilliant. Oh my gosh, this match was so entertaining. I loved it. Some of the coolest things. Great idea to really show the junior heavyweights' personalities and dynamics in this match. Just 5 stars for me. Probably not 5 stars for other people, but I found it incredibly entertaining. And then Tama Tonga and Okada defeated Jay White and Kenta. And I'll tell you what, I like babyface Tama Tonga. I like the different look. I like that. He and Okada work well together. I think he looks like a bigger star next to Okada. I think that this has been a great move for Tama Tonga. Anyway, they looked great. A very entertaining match. Tag Team Champ, IWGP Tag Team Championship. FTR defeated Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan when they hit the big rig on O'Khan and pinned him. But this was an outstanding tag team match. You had the power moves of Cobb and O'Khan. Oh my God, Jeff Cobb is so strong. Oh my gosh, that guy is strong. He's a bull. And then you've got the double team moves of Harwood and Wheeler. This was another outstanding match. And then in the main event, Will Ospreay defended the U.S. title against Naito, and he defeated Naito. So that was another outstanding match. I mean, Naito hit Destinos out of nowhere. He kept reversing things, hit Destinos, near fall, and then finally Will Ospreay was able to just eke out the victory. Just an outstanding match. So after the match, Ospreay's in the ring with Aussie Open, and he makes an open challenge, and nobody answers the call. They do streamers, they tell everybody good night, and it looks like the show's over. Kevin Kelly's saying good night, and then suddenly the lights go out, and there's a video package, and they announce Roughneck Shota Umino. And Shota Umino comes down, clears the ring of Aussie Open, hits the Death Rider, DDT, on Will Ospreay. And it's now going to be Umino and Ospreay for November 20th at the Stardom Cross Promotion Show with New Japan, with the IWGP US Championship on the line. So it looks like Umino's going to get his revenge for earlier against Ospreay. So outstanding. Roughneck Shota Umino. Not sure that's going to fit, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. A four-way for but anyway, go out of your way to see Autumn Battle. It is a great, great show. It has really got me jazzed for Wrestle Kingdom. You know, New Japan has always had the talent, but certainly they were affected by the pandemic. They were very strict with their rules, very strict with what they did, bringing in people, not bringing in people, using talent, not using talent, very strict COVID protocols, strict audience protocols. New Japan, I think, lost a lot of momentum. And I don't know that one show can turn everything around, but I'll tell you what, that one show did a lot for New Japan. Definitely watch that show. Very, very well booked, well wrestled. Just you're not going to find a more entertaining show than Autumn Battle. It's going to be a four-way for the ROH World Championship at Full Gear later this month. On Friday's Rampage, Chris Jericho set up the four-way between himself, Claudio, Bryan Danielson, and Sammy Guevara. Oh, looking over at Crown Jewel, it looks like the OC has been defeated, and Judgment Day is victorious at Crown Jewel. Hey, we've got a bunch of tournaments. WWE's got one. AEW's got one. We'll talk some tournaments. Coming up next, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer. All right. All right. Oh, sorry. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Tweet me at Jim Valley, 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529. Well, AEW has revealed the brackets for the World Title Eliminator Tournament, set to conclude Full Gear on November 19th. The first round matches, Eddie Kingston versus Ethan Page, Bandito versus Roosh, Ricky Starks versus Lance Archer, Brian Cage versus Dante Martin. And Smackdown, which was taped last week. We had the results last week. The only thing is that it was a really good match when Gunther beat Rey Mysterio. Also, is Bray Wyatt's character thing that he's bipolar? He was doing a rambling promo backstage and then just snapped on a stagehand who interrupted his train of thought and was dressing him down and telling him he needed an apology. And then while he was doing this, there was symbols, things showing up on the screen, including some weird face that looked like the guy from, is it Saw? I don't know. It really kind of seemed like heel behavior to me. So I don't know. I know Bray Wyatt is popular. He's like the number one babyface and merchandise mover, but it just seemed like very heelish while he was yelling at this guy. Either way, I don't know. People seem to like what Bray Wyatt's doing. I'm still kind of, the jury's out with me. I guess I can't tell yet if it's really deep and psychological, or this is just something like a middle school kid would come up with. So we will wait and see where all of this goes, but it seems to be tournament season in wrestling. Also announced on Smackdown, there's going to be the Smackdown World Cup, an 8-man tournament with the winner receiving the Smackdown World Cup trophy. Participants for the upcoming tournament have not been announced. But that's very interesting. We get the World Cup instead of King of the Ring. I don't know. It seems like a very AEW thing for WWE to be doing, doesn't it? You know, in the past, NXT sort of out ROH'd ROH. And I'm kind of wondering, under Triple H, we're seeing sort of a younger, a little hipper WWE, and I wonder if we're going to see a few more AEW-esque elements of WWE going forward. We shall see. Next week on Smackdown, we've got the tag team titles, the Usos taking on the Usos, I should say, or the Brawling Brutes. Probably the Usos taking on the New Day. Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Santos Escobar, and the SmackDown World Cup begins. So, probably my favorite story of the week. Otis recently made this public on his Instagram that he accomplished just an incredible milestone. It's so heartwarming. He finished reading his first book from cover to cover. And he noticed that he's always had a bad reading dyslexia. And apparently, WWE approached him about a year and a half ago and helped him get into a reading class. And after working with an instructor, Otis completed Stephen King's novel, Pet Sematary, as his first full book. Apparently Otis likes horror. And I don't know, apparently Otis learned the way people always say it, the book is better than the movie. He said it can be a deeper experience than watching movies. And the next book that Otis is reading is The Shining. What a heartwarming story to overcome not only dyslexia at his age, but do it publicly, to come out like that, and then to discover a love of reading. I mean, just a great story all around. What a congratulations, Otis. I hope other people with similar dyslexias come forward and learn to overcome their issues the way you have. Just heartwarming. Did you see Young Rock last night? Becky Lynch made her Young Rock debut playing Cyndi Lauper. Billed as Rebecca Quinn, she did a great job. She nailed the accent. That's Cyndi Lauper's Brooklyn accent. She had a lot of Cindy's mannerisms. I mean, with costumes today, anybody can dress up with Cindy's iconic hair and chunky jewelry and colorful clothes and the hat. You can make anybody look like Cyndi Lauper, but she did a really great job with everything. I mean, she was perfect. It was a pretty funny episode. They based it around WrestleMania 1. So they had the Iron Sheik there, Lou Albano, and somebody playing Liberace and other characters. They had a Hulk Hogan who kind of sounded like Hulk Hogan, but I mean, it's hard because Hulk Hogan's so famous. That's a hard one to cast, to be fair. And you know, Young Rock gets a couple of things. It's a sitcom. They're not going to get everything exactly right. They called WrestleMania the first pay-per-view. And pay-per-view has sort of become a synonymous word for a big event. And there was very limited pay-per-view in like big cities like New York, but primarily the first WrestleManias were closed circuit events. You'd go to a venue and watch it on a screen. You'd pay to watch it like in a movie theater kind of a thing. But there was very limited pay-per-view. But calling it a pay-per-view is not a big deal. And, the other thing is I don't believe the story about Rocky Johnson in Saudi Arabia. I don't believe. I would have heard that. I don't know what happened, but I mean, look, it's The Rock's dad. There's nothing wrong with, Rocky Johnson did a lot of things. There's nothing wrong with kind of sanitizing, particularly Rocky Johnson. I don't know if you heard Brett Lauderdale this week talking to Brian about GCW on Fight TV. And whether you like it or not, you've got to give them credit. They have really broken through a very crowded wrestling market. They've developed their own stars. They've integrated outside stars like Jon Moxley very well. They have their own style. GCW has an identity. And as a consumer, as a fan, you know what you're going to get if you go to and you order a GCW show. You're going to get some violence, maybe some weapons, some surprises, some physical wrestling, and a wrestling match. Effie is going to be there maybe. He'll do his spectacular entrance. Joey Janela is going to do his thing. You'll have somebody like Nick Wayne to hold down the wrestling on the card. Maybe Matt Cardona or Jon Moxley might be there. Maybe a surprise or two. It has elements and an atmosphere that set it apart from other major wrestling brands. Do I like it? I like parts of it. Some of it can go on a little long, but it does feel like when that happens, they're guilty of just trying to give the audience more, which again, I think is part of their brand. And let me ask you this. Impact Wrestling. What's its identity? What sets it apart? Josh Alexander's great. So are people like Trey Miguel and Eric Young. You get good wrestling, but you get good wrestling everywhere. Good wrestling is not the calling card it used to be. Someday you can tell your grandchildren, 20 years ago in the year 2000, Ring of Honor would tape a great card from top to bottom, put it on DVD, and people would buy it weeks, even months later. Now you turn on your TV, you get Samoa Joe or Bryan Danielson doing the same thing for free. Today we fans are very, very spoiled. Is it a great match? Maybe I'll watch it. Did anything important happen? Well, then I care. And I give the GCW crew all the credit in the world. They found a hole in a very saturated market that's hard to do, and they fill it. And look, it may not be your thing, and that's fine. You know who they are, and you know what you're going to get. And that is a lot of the battle. But in a crowded environment, when there is wrestling on literally seems like every channel, every platform, every local indie, GCW has carved out a niche. And they don't have a lot of money. They don't have, a ton to pay the talent or to get a good venue or to even have tremendous, great looking shows, a lot of production. But they've cultivated a passionate fan base, and they've cultivated an audience that wants to spend money. Joey Janela's act may or may not work in AEW. He may seem a little small on an AEW stage, but he seems like a star globetrotting the world with GCW. You may not like it, but you can't begrudge them their success with a winning formula that fans want. There's a group of fans that want an in-your-face, authority-defying product, and they deliver. We're getting the giant battle right now on Crown Jewel. Braun Strowman and Omos. Talk about that and more next. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer. Wrestling Observer Live. And don't forget, there's F4W video. Heard Brian talk about how all the shows on F4W are now on video. E2, Brian? Cut me. Do I not bleed? I'm just kidding. I don't really care. It's not a big deal. I thought it was very funny. Actually, Brian's done a very good job of promoting me on Saturdays, and I appreciate it. Crown Jewel, Braun Strowman pinned Omos, and now it looks like the Usos getting ready to defend their titles at Crown Jewel. You know, last week, everybody was talking about my sponsors. And as you know, every good wrestling podcast has to have sponsors. And we do have a new sponsor this week. It's a new series coming to HBO Max. The DC Universe has its new anti-hero. CM Punk is Peacebreaker. Instead of Eagly, Peacebreaker has his faithful dog, Larry, by his side, along with Ace Steel under his secret identity as the White Bite. Peacebreaker, breaking up peace at any price. Limited series run. Seriously, it could end. It could end at any time. Peacebreaker coming to HBO Max. Man, everybody love the sponsors, because when people listen to podcasts, they're like, give me more sponsors. I'm trying to work it up to where I have just nothing but 1 hour of sponsors that you can't skip, but all great products and fun reads. That's the goal. Monetize everything. Don't forget that. Anyway. All right. I guess Crown Jewel's just on my mind, speaking of monetizing. We'll talk to you next week. Check out Autumn Battle. It's great. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, back next time. As always, because of the fans. All right, man. Sounds like a party. All right, thanks, guys. There we go.